Hi, this is Miss Andrea, and I have a guest today, Miss Nikita.
Yes.
And I saw her YouTube video on preparing her children for pre-K, which I'd never seen anyone do with such intention. And I just had to do a collaboration. And so here we are.
Yes.
You want to introduce yourself?
Hi guys, I'm Nikita J, and I am the mom of 2 boys. So that's just my introduction.
Yes. So I'm just going to hop right into the questions that I have for her, and I know that she has some questions for me. So let's get to it.
Okay.
So, in preparing your kids for public school, what made you take the approach to go ahead and start teaching them?
So I've always kind of been in the educational realm since I got out of college. I graduated in 2009, so 11 years ago. And with me being in the college realm and also being in the educational world, I majored in child psychology, which also on the with a minor in child development. So I kind of learned that, early on in age, children actually can learn, those are learning stages. They're like sponges. So I figured that it would be best to introduce education in the home. So I taught in daycares, and I remember seeing like 2-year-olds reciting their ABCs and doing all these things. At that age, 23, I didn't have any children yet, but I was on to my first one at 23. So just seeing them take in all the knowledge that I was giving them, I knew that, it was something that I could give to my children as well. So coming from an educational background and then having children of my own, I'm like, education definitely starts at home. So that's definitely why I wanted to start educating them at home.
That explains a great deal. Explains a great deal. And you're absolutely right. I've seen people introduce foreign language at this age and piano at this age, and those are the reasons why. So, are any of your kids in traditional school this year? Or is everyone at home due to COVID?
Everyone is at home due to COVID.
Mm-hmm. How is that going?
It's going good. My 9-year-old has not been able to adjust to it. And my son, who's now 4, it's kind of been his life to be at home and be educated at home. And besides, when I was in the daycare room, he would go to daycare with me, which was probably like 6 or 7 months or so. But because I was the director of the facility. So he really does very well with it. But my oldest son, he misses the peer interaction. Other than that, he's doing good with the educational realm of it.
Good. I'm glad you called it peer interaction. A lot of people call it socialization, and that's not quite the right term. I teach a bunch of homeschool kids, and my more social kids have started doing like Dungeons and Dragon type games via online, Zoom or Google Hangouts.
Nice.
Or whatever. So just like find some games to play and log into their friends. And that's been super helpful. Has COVID changed your approach to education, the way you even think about it?
It hasn't changed my approach to education. It's still very important. It's still necessary. And I think that COVID kind of ruined it for some families because some families don't create the time. But for me, there was always an educational time for me. So it really hasn't changed anything.
Right. I think you are already where a lot of people are getting to right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Because I'm seeing a crazy change. I am on a lot of homeschool Facebook groups, and the questions are vast and detailed. And these are people who've never homeschooled before. And they're all flocking over. Now, some of them have made it clear that they're leaving the second they can. But in the meanwhile, we're going to homeschool and then we're going to leave. So do you have a checklist that's written in stone for what you want to teach your children to prepare them for school?
I do not have a checklist. I am in the process of creating one though, because school is around the corner. It starts in September. So I am in the process of creating one. For my youngest one, his curriculum is already set in stone. Like I have a blueprint. Like I've been doing that for years from like birth to first grade. So that's definitely set in stone. My now going into fourth grade, I have not set the precedent for his education yet, but I'm definitely doing that within the next 2 weeks.
So you're not doing school at home for your older child, you're doing homeschooling.
Right. Well, I'm doing homeschooling
Mhm.
probably for the next 2 years. I don't know. It depends on the COVID thing. I know he really misses it and I want him to have that, but I'm just kind of scared of the COVID thing. So I think that, so
So
yeah.
when I say school at home or homeschooling, school at home is when the teacher is zooming in and controlling the program. And homeschooling is when the parent is controlling the program. Those are the main differences. Um, a lot of people tried the schooling at home last year and said, this is destroying my family. You know,
No, I'm controlling it.
so
I'm going from
you're homeschooling.
I'm homeschooling this
Yeah.
year, and for the next year is homeschooling. The teacher won't control it. I just have to set in stone what I'm going to teach him for the fourth grade coming in and how I'm going to do it. I know they threw in all these different metrics on how they do math and everything,
Mhm.
but that's not my genre. So
Mhm.
I'm going to do it my way, you know?
If you want help simplifying it, just contact me. I've been doing this for almost 20 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, with good results. Um,
That's
and my, and my final question is, will you be making more videos with educational content?
I probably will. I definitely will. I have a 3-year-old that is expected to attend, which I'm calling my home daycare homeschooling.
Mhm.
And I definitely will be showing her, because as far as now, I know she's very minimal on it and she's 3 and so she's at the preschool age. So I will be educating her. I will be doing videos on her homeschooling because I will be controlling her curriculum.
Excellent. Perfect. Because I look forward to it. And I think a lot of people who do public school need to understand that the more work the parent puts into it at home,
The easier it is.
and the lighter it's going to be on your pocketbook on the other end. I
Right.
literally was able to give my kids credit cards and let them have a little freedom to buy food.
Oh,
And
wow.
even my daughter's very generous. So I was
At what
buying food for
age did you
her. I
give
was
them
buying
credit
food
cards?
for, oh no, when she got to college at like,
Oh, okay.
she started college a month after she turned 17. So we
Okay.
graduated her at 16. And so we're able to give her a credit card and say, here, do what you need to do because so much of college was already paid for.
Where we switch hats and Nikita interviews me. We go through a little bit of the trauma I experienced and the decision making that went into me deciding to homeschool. And then I answered the other questions that she had of me. Please visit her site. I will post a link as soon as she puts her side of the video up. In the meanwhile, go visit her site and check her out. It was a great interview. The end of the video, I will be talking about what I do for homeschoolers, so be sure to stay to the end and watch the end of the video. Um, it's informative, and I'm glad to speak to anyone in this matter who wants to discuss homeschooling.
This is what I do now. I finished homeschooling 7 years ago. Um, and I'm involved in theater arts. I direct, I produce, I write. And that's more of a labor of love for my child than for me. It's what we have in common. But what I do for me, from my heart, is help parents figure out education when it's not working. Whether they're homeschooling or in public school, I try to find a way to make everyone comfortable. And I more work with parents than children, although I've had amazing results, when parents have said, can you take control of this subject for a year? My child and I are butting heads horribly. But the main thing I do is make sure they get into college with scholarships.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So you make sure they get scholarships.
Yep. If you bring me your homeschooler, and I will, if you haven't been keeping record or if you have been keeping record, I compile everything. I ask questions. I interview. I deconstruct. I had one child who I went through 5 years of his social media to pull everything that he'd been doing.
Wow.
And wrote him a portfolio, and he got a couple $1 million in scholarship offers.
Really? How old was he?
19 years.
He was homeschooled the whole time?
He was unschooled.
Unschooled?
Unschooled, which is a very laid back version of homeschooling. But he was also an actor and dynamic. And he just happened to be writing for theater websites. So I was able to demonstrate his genius by basically stalking all of his social media going back 5 years. I did another child's portfolio from going through his Eagle Scouts credentials, because you learn so much in Boy Scouts. And then the Eagle Scout is the Eagle Scout badge is earned by doing a huge business project. You have to do a proposal, you have to get funding, you have to enact it. So I was able to get him a scholarship to a private college.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice.
Yeah, so that's what I do. But I was very interested in what you do because I've seen the other end of it. And I want you to know how successful it could be. And I wanted other people to know how successful it could be. And I'll tell you this. If you can get a child to middle school with their self-esteem still intact, nobody can rattle them afterwards.
Wow. Okay.
So you take this time to let him know that the sun rises when he gets up and it sets when he goes to sleep. Because if you can get his self-esteem intact and take away some of that little needling that happens in school now, just shut him off from it. That doesn't matter anymore. You are magnificent. I trust that you are going to make the right choices for you. And if you fall, I'm going to pick you back up. If you can get them to middle school, sure of themselves, them little kids and those sadistic teachers can't do anything. So yeah, just, let him soar where he's going to soar and then help him keep up where he's lagging behind. He doesn't have to be perfect in everything, but he better be excellent in something. That's kind of how I do it. Okay.
So maybe we could follow up on another call. I'm kind of pressed for time. So let's stay in touch.
Absolutely.
All right.
Till next time. Bye.